Today we have Mark Monahan, industry expert. For how many years, Mark? Have we known each other? 30 years in the
Yeah,
industry?
long time.
30,
80s.
80s,
I
yeah, the
started in the
80s.
80s.
Yeah, I know. And Wendy Ruggiero, how long you been in dropship and data management, supply chain data?
Uh, Over 25 years now.
25 years. And myself, yeah, it's been 20, it'll be 30 years this February that I started with a company called Preminos back in the day, and that invented EDI over the internet. So yeah, and we've been around. So Mark, why don't we start with you and like just give me an idea. I mean, you just wrote a paper I saw, which was really interesting, which kind of kicked this whole thing off, was how AI is going to affect the market of SPS Commerce and True Commerce and Clio and IBM Sterling and Open
The
Text.
problem is that the ERP gets to a state of readiness, and then EDI end-to-end testing with all 1,000 trading partners or hundreds of trading partners starts. So the challenge that the integrators have and the companies have is they do all this work to get the ERP ready to go, and they even start using some of the financials, but they can't fully go live until all those trading partners are end-to-end tested. And that is a manual process and can take, an integration provider at a vendor, an integration analyst might do 2 to 5 a week, maybe with some really good supporting tech. They might be do as many as 10 a week, but that's really aggressive. So where I believe AI with the concept of agents is, what if you could take an integration specialist who maybe was doing 2 to 5 trading partner end-to-end testings a week from a go live perspective, and they could then work with AI and leveraging the concept of agents, remote agents, and that integration specialist is able to manage up to 50 agents, each one representing a testing relationship with one trading partner. And all of a sudden the pipe that integration specialist is able to do on a weekly basis grows from 5-ish to 50. And they become not an integration specialist, but they're an integration reviewer of the anomalies that pop up with the agents exposed. In my mind, this could take sometimes a multi-year end-to-end testing process down to months.
So the biggest change that AI would have on EDI industry, you're saying, is, I mean, the longest implementation time is not really the technical integration to the ERP. It's really the coordination, the onboarding of the trading partners.
Yeah, that is the critical point, is that especially now, since most of these companies have pre-built integrations, either API or embedded, into the popular systems, NetSuite, Acumatica, Sage, SAP, they're all already pre-built. It's just drag and drop. That integration is pretty, it's rare that an actual integration of the ERP takes longer than 3 months, maybe 4 if it's a lot of transactions and complicated. It's that end-to-end testing that drags out.
And Wendy, you seeing something very similar on the drop shipping side?
Well, I think I'm seeing the same scenario, if you will, with end-to-end testing and getting suppliers up on a dropship platform, new integrations, new vendors or suppliers coming into the pipeline for dropship are experiencing the very same thing with their EDI connections. And so my only thought with that, and I think that's a wonderful pathway to get us to more on board in a much faster time. But what I've also seen then is, how do you remediate the issues? So if you have AI, let's say, as the reviewer of the anomalies, how do you then go back and have human resources to be able to go back and then triage what's going on? Because usually with dropship, you'll find a couple of snafus based on the playbook that you're trying to install. And so I think that would be my only question. But we're seeing the exact same thing. It's end-to-end testing. It's how quick can you get up? Dropship is speed to market, as you know.
Is so Rhythm, the old Commerce Hub and Channel Advisor, Wendy, is that still the dominant player in dropship? I mean, are there any challengers to them, or how's their business going? Do you have any idea?
I don't have a direct pulse, or I wouldn't want to speak directly to how they're doing. I don't know of any major accounts that have dropped recently, because there are no real big players in the space that can handle I would say like the more complex, high volume movers. I know Logic Broker is still in the space on the dropship side. Miracle was more on the marketplace side. They were playing into the dropship space. I'm not quite sure how complicated their systems have become, but I don't know of any other big rival that has taken on Commerce Hub since Disco, really. And
Right. SPS Commerce, do they have any contenders, any concerns with them still dominating on?
Because SPS is the one EDI company that has focused on a business aspect of it that none of the other EDI companies have done, which is they go in and they find a big buying hub retailer, but it doesn't have to be a retailer, it could be a large distributor. And what they do is they create a marketing communications campaign to reach out to the large community of potential suppliers to that buying company, and they get them to do something. And this is a business problem that most other EDI companies don't really address. And I think this is why SPS captures more customers than any other company. They actually have a process to collaborate with the buying entity and pressure the vendors to do something. And they are able to monetize that. And then those small companies that come in and buy something from them, something small, maybe it's a website or a testing and certification, they become something that they farm over the years. And as that company gets bought or by someone else and grows into a medium-sized company, and then they need an ERP company, well, the first call that they're making is they buy NetSuite or they buy some small ERP, and they'll reach out to SPS because they're the devil that they know, and not necessarily
and any other
devil,
new contenders you think are going to challenge the leaders of the industry here? I mean, you have Orderful's been there for a while. They're talking about speed. There's a new one. I don't know if you ever heard? I think it's Crystal is how you say it. CRSTL. They're a new PE backed firm. You still have and then also IBM Sterling. They just a year and a half ago they bought up the old Web Methods and Stream Sets from Software AG.
Yeah.
So now they have a hybrid model of better integration, but they're still talking about the Sterling van. So I mean, what do you think? Are any of those contenders or challengers to the market or to SPS?
I do not think IBM and SPS compete. I think that SPS would like to compete with them, but IBM's kind of disappeared. I really, when I in the last 5 years of sales, I competed against them once, and they were just it was they were very pricey and were eliminated really quickly. And typically SPS Commerce, they compete with each other. Clio and Orderfill are right behind there. They're the other two that are in the mix.
Yeah, Clio's a contender. I mean, they're PE backed, and you hear just good things about them as far as they have a loyal customer following. They have a really smart, tight team. I mean, they seem to be a good contender. They actually picked up recently one of my old companies, DataTrans, to do that kind of enablement process of the web-based procurement side.
Yeah, I think I like Clio. What I would do if I was consulting a client, and if they had a heavily customized ERP system, I would lean towards Clio. They're closer to software and more ability to change and flow. If you've got a heavy customized system, or if you've got a supply chain that's awkward, like it doesn't follow the traditional order to cash, procure to pay, the big cloud services kind of stumble. They like things inside. I have a question for you, Wendy, if that's okay.
sure.
So I was working with a very large company in Europe. It was a European division of a very large company that I won't mention, but we would all recognize them. And they were really struggling with local marketplaces, right? Because in Europe, each country, you can't use one website to sell your products direct to consumer. For Germany as you can, France. It's because they're just the cultures and everything, the language. It's not just the language, but it's just the whole way they sell and the way people are. So they were actually approaching this uniquely. So they would pick a vendor that would be their their marketplace in Germany, and then they'd pick one that was different, and here and here and here. And they were actually engaged with a medium-sized EDI company, kind of rationalize, pull in all the data and then feed it to their system. And that sounded to me like a really good idea. And like, is this common? And is this the future of this, like, segregated markets, but the company is in all of them and they're similar but different?
I think that's a really good question. I think it really depends on the systems that they're running on in the background. They are very different. Shipping and fulfillment is different by country. Requirements for companies to fulfill is different by country. However, I did work for a retailer in the past who did conquer that in a way where they were still one entity. They still had to separate it out based on requirements by country. I don't foresee that changing. And in fact, I think the way that the geopolitical environment is going, I would see that getting a little bit more technical, if you will, with maybe more stricter restrictions.
Yeah.
And especially based on shipping and what will be accepted by the customer based on those environments. It's going to, I think it'll get more challenging.
Too is always with these types of our platforms from SPS to Rhythm and stuff is taking a percentage of the dollar amounts that are going through these networks. And what you're seeing now, which I don't know if SPS spoke much about it, but I think they're having great success with it, is that they've now connected a factoring company or a factoring service where, basically they can sell their invoices and get paid immediately, based off of all the data, because they have all the risk data already in their network as far as, there's your shipping and stuff like that. And then, I just saw that Clio just announced the same thing, that they actually are going to use the same company that SPS Commerce, I forget the name of the company, is going to do it. And then, I know some of the other folks have worked on it, but, I thought that was interesting that now they are getting, it's like credit card rates. They are getting credit card rates for the dollar values that are going through the network. Before we just wrap this up, and thank you for your time. These are, again, I don't know if there's any other questions that you guys are getting from these analysts that are calling you that are kind of typical, but is there like a business problem? Is there still a big white elephant business problem out there that, could really need to get fixed? Okay.
Go for it anyway, Wendy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But from my point of view, the white elephant is always reverse logistics. You could make a first and best in class end-to-end integration, but you still have to manage reverse logistics and returns. And that still seems to be a pain point. And a pain point still getting the data back and making a timely return and a timely credit to the customer. And it's really a customer-facing concern as much as it is a disposition to the retailer for the return itself and how to manage those returns. And it's becoming, since COVID, I'll say, the statistics are staggering on the returns now.
So I'm gonna stick to my lane, which is EDI. So I'm gonna put two things out there. One, I've already put out there. I've written this paper. It's very short. To me, the white elephant for EDI today is how could someone deploy hundreds or thousands of trading partners in fraction of the time? And I have a lot of hope in AI and agents that could really cut that down by 10, 20, 30-fold. I really do have a lot of optimism in that. I just don't know who's working on it or if they're working on it.
Well, long live EDI. Well, thanks, guys.
In my lifetime,
I appreciate the conversation. All right. Well, here I'll have a good one. Thanks for joining me today over lunch, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks for gathering us, Rob. This was great. Thanks, Mark.